In this episode of the subjective vlog of a forensic auditor, I would like to focus on collection and analysis of electronic material. I would like to recommend a four-step approach. First step being the identification of data repositories and also the understanding of the content and location of these repositories. The information about relevant data sets could be found in the course of interviews of witnesses or suspects, and also in the initial process of a mapping of business processes within the organization, or by reading internal audit reports or other written materials available at the early stage of the forensic investigation. Knowing where and what data sets, where the data sets are located and what data sets may be of interest for us, we can move to the next step, being the forensic data collection process. What is important in this second step is, of course, to collect data in a, how it's called, defensible way, which means that the data collection must be made in a way that then could be used in a court of law in case we would like to bring the outcome of the investigation into the court hearing and court proceedings. So my advice in this step would be to seek support from the experts, from the forensic data analysts or people who actually are doing it on daily basis. For a simple reason, sometimes, or actually when we would like to copy for instance the content of a laptop, Palm Top or any other device, we may need BitLocker, and we may need the technology that is required to actually collect the information in a forensically sound manner. If we would drop this step and we would drop this competence on board of our investigation team, then the evidence may be useless in the following proceedings. So my advice is to actually use the technology and use the people who know how to forensically sound collect the data. Once the data is collected and ready for review, it can be email boxes, it can be the content of a hard drive, it can be the financial information downloaded from the accounting system. Having all this data collected, we can move to the third step, and this third step is the forensic examination and analysis of data. So the initial phase of the third step is to structure the data, deduplicate, identify if we collected, for instance, copies of hard drives, the system files that may not be necessarily of interest for us, and in a large volume of data it can save a lot of time not to screening the content of the system files. But of course it depends, because if we have a clever suspect, this person may hide some of the interesting for us information in this system file. So again, having a forensic expert on forensic computer forensic data expert on board of our investigation, we can actually use the expertise of this person to identify whether we need to review the system files or not. And having the data structured, we can start with the data analysis. And again, the data analysis, the direction of the analysis depends on the scope of our investigation. So if we are looking for correspondence, email correspondence, for instance, between specific individuals and the content, review the content of this correspondence, then Obviously, we may use the traditional keyword search technology and technique. So having some software where we could upload all of these emails and we could easily search the content by keywords and look and filter all the interesting for us content for further detailed review. But sometimes we will be reviewing accounting data, financial data, and for that review we may need to use a different technique, for instance cash flow analysis, asset structure review, and identification of any significant or interesting or unusual changes in the balance sheet or profit and loss account. And for this, for instance, we may need expertise of a chartered accountant or someone who understands how to read the financial statement, and more importantly how the financial statement is developed by the organization. And for this reason we also may consider some industry knowledge that may be required to actually analyze this financial data in merit, because different industries may have different rules of engagement, and definitely without the understanding of the content of the data, it might be quite difficult for us to identify any anomalies. And once the review is done, obviously we need to move to the fourth and final very important step, which is the concluding and the reporting. So first of all, we need to think about how the outcome of our review, so how the findings from the review fit to the overall investigation structure, how this information supports the course of our investigation, and maybe how the information collected and analyzed enriched our evidence pool. The outcome of data analysis obviously can lead to further future evidence procedures, evidence collection procedures, that might be interviews with additional individuals or collection of additional sets of data for review. And once we have the conclusions ready, we need to document them and report whenever we need to report the outcome of the review. The forensic data analysis may be a standalone process within the investigation, and then it will end up with the report from the review. But it may also be the part of, and this is the usual pattern, part of the overall investigation process, and then the outcome of the review, the conclusions, would be documented in a way necessary for the final reporting phase. Well, that's it for today. I hope that this information may be of use for you, and please bear with me and see the next episodes of the subjective blog of a forensic auditor. Goodbye.